some content. Okay, we need to populate with some content. So we're basically going to be using the same kinds of syntax as we used in mobile standards.aspx. We're going to be creating a database connection, and we're going to open it. We're going to create a query command, and we're going to cycle through all the articles, all the results that have been returned. But instead this time of displaying them on a page, which is what we did before, we're going to add that content into the my feed object. Okay, so let's just go back through them. So we're going to be creating the database connection. I'm just going to now copy and paste from the mobile standards.aspx file. There's the line which creates our OLEDBcon. That's the thing which will connect us to the database. Okay, it connects us to the database. Then we've got to kind of open the database object, so we say something like OLEDBcon.open. Okay. Now then, we're going to create our command, the database command that we want to create. First of all, we create the string. Let's call it CMD query as we did before. CMD query. Now then, in the past we selected all the objects, didn't we? We said select star from papers. And we occasionally ordered it by, but this time we're not going to bother. We're going to only look for the last 5 papers that have been added. Okay. At the moment, we're not actually putting any time or date stamping of when these things were added, so we can't say things in the last week. We'll just find the very last 5 items added to the database. Okay. We just do the very 5 last things added to the database. So let's just, to do that actually, the SQL command is select top 5 star from papers. Okay, so that's going to get us the last 5. Oh dear, I've done that wrong. CMD query. Sorry, I've written this wrong. Dim CMD query as string equals select top 5 star from papers. So there's our SQL query, which will get us only the last 5 records in the table. Okay, so this will, in some ways, it'll show the most recent activity, although there's no indication of when that activity took place. We just know that it is the most recent 5 things added to the database. Okay, so that's what we've got as a query. Now we need to turn that query into a command object. So we turn that by saying dim dbcom equals new OLEDB command, open bracket, CMD query. Okay, there's the query line we're going to be passing, and finally we need to have the connection, so it's OLEDBcon. Okay, so there it is. We've got our command, and now we can cause it to execute. Okay, so let's just actually we'll keep these on the same lines, because then we get at least let's kind of separate. If we put some lines here, we know that this part here is all about the feed object. This part here is all about the database setting up. So if we now do dbcom.execute reader. Okay. So then, okay, so there it is. Okay. So we've got our sorry, and I've written that wrong. Dim db read equals dbcom execute reader. That will mean that the contents we will execute that query on the database, and the results we're putting into the dbRead object. Now then, so that's the second part. So we've set up the feed, we've set up the database. Now we need to go through the data items that are returned to us and add them to an array of items which will eventually go into the feed. Okay, so first of all, let's create this array, this list of things that's going to go into the feed. Okay, and how we declare this, we say dim something like, and now we have an array, could be named anything. I'm just going to call it now my items as new list, and this is, so you notice here it says list of t. Now because we're doing something of a list is like an array, it's like a collection, it's like all of these kind of iterable groups of things, but this particular one, list of t, is just going to say that this is a list of a very specific type, and that's what we're going to say. We're going to create a list of, and it's basically going to be syndication items. Okay, so we've got our syndication feed, which is made up of syndication items. Okay, so I'll put in syndication item. Okay, my items as new list of syndication item. Okay. So now that we, having created that list, what we can do is now cycle through the database records that have been returned and gradually fill up this my items, okay, and in order that we will eventually pass to the feed object. So we say something like this: while db read dot read. Okay, which is, we've used that before, and that means as long as there are still records that have been returned ready for us to read, okay, well, dbRead.read, okay, we're now going to, well, first of all, we'll now initialize a syndication item. So dim s item as new syndication item, okay. New syndication item. Now then, just as the feed had all these things like title and description and links, so the feed items will also have their own properties, and it also has a title property. So if I type like, so s item dot title. Now if I again look at this. Title is System Service Model Syndication Text Syndication Content. So it's another of these text syndication content objects. It's not just simply a string that I can pass to this. So again, I can type in something like text syndication content, create plain text content. But I think this is beginning to irritate me how much text I'm having to write in to make these very simple things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little function of my own, which will just make this much smaller. So I'm going to create a function called private function make RSS text, okay, by val some string as string, and this is going to be return as text syndication content. So what is this function is going to do is just simply, in much smaller space, do exactly what we did above. So let's say return text syndication content dot create plain text content, open bracket, and then we put in some string. Okay. And that, in one line, will then means we can just have a much smaller function, which we just say muk RSS text. So rather than writing sort of like s item title create whatever it is, create what is it, text indication going to create plain text content, which is very long. We were talking there just muk RSS text, open bracket, and it's just RSS text rather than text. And then I just put in the actual thing I want to put in here. Now the title, of course, we're getting this from the database, and we know that it's going to be db read open bracket quote title. Okay, so that's done our first thing. So now we've done that. Now then, another field in the syndication item is the so-called summary, which is, if you like, the text which will appear to the reader, which summarizes. Now, if you were syndicating extremely large articles, what you would probably put in the summary would be maybe just the first paragraph of the text that is in the larger article, and you would expect the user to click on the link in order to go to the larger text. Okay. In our case, we're probably the abstract and the intro both together are not going to be that long. So what we could actually put in here is both the intro and the abstract. So let's put some S item dot, and you see you've got all these various lists of things you can add. So you see here, there's summary. So I'm going to click on summary, and I'm going to put S item dot summary equals, and again we'll use this MOOC RSS text, and I'm going to put in here db read open bracket quote intro, and I'm going to put the little ampersand which concatenates strings in ASPX, and db read open bracket quote abstract. Okay, and that will then produce the summary, which will contain both the intro and the abstract. Probably will be nice if we create a new different line, but it's too much effort, and I'm not going to bother. Okay, so that's S item summary. Now, an important thing, however, is we want the link, the S item link, where will we want that to go? Okay, we would want there to be a link, and we want it to actually go to the original paper rather than our website at this moment. Later on I'll tell you a reason why we might actually want it to go to our website rather than the paper, but for now we'll make it go to the original place where the article comes from. So if I type in now S item dot links dot add, okay, now then, as you saw above, I had to write a very long line to actually type in the link. Syndication link, create self link, new URI, okay, URL. Okay, again, let's try to put that all into a small function of our own to make it a bit smaller. So private function make MOOC RSS link, okay, by val some location as string, okay, as, and it's going to be let's see, what is the type? Let's remember, I just need to find out the type is going to be a syndication link, okay, as syndication link. Okay, so make RSS link as syndication link. Okay, so make RSS link by val some location of string, a syndication link, and now what I'm going to do is put inside that all of those functions together. So it's going to be something like this. Return syndication link dot, here we're going to say create alternative rather than self-link, because this is the place where it's going to be going to, the original paper rather than us. So it's going to create alternative link, okay, open bracket, okay, and inside the bracket we can put new URI, and this time we don't have to, we can then here we just put some location. We don't have to put in that OK URL because we're going to where we've specified the link to be in the database itself. So this doesn't need to be relative to our website. Okay, this is just an ordinary common or garden link. So we don't have to write that OK URL function. So okay, so there it is. So syndication link, create alternative link. I've got that slightly wrong because it says it's not a member of the syndication link. Let me just try typing that again. Syndication link dot create alternate, not alternative. Right. Okay. Create alternate link. Okay. New. Okay. Oh, and I've got some. It's new URI. Okay. Some location. Okay, so that's just now. This is then make RSS links. So this will be just a little bit easier. So sitem.links.add open bracket RSS link open bracket db read, and then the place in our database we called it the column hyperlink, which will then take us to that location. Okay, so we've done that. Then we've put in now a link for each item that we're going to be putting inside our feed object. We've added a link. Okay, so we've added the link, we've added the summary. Finally, what we need to do is we've created this object my items, which is a list of syndication items. Okay, what we need to do now is now just add this S item that we've been constructing into that list of items. So say my items dot add S item. Okay, so there we have. So we've added this this syndication item into this list of items, and finally we need to add the list of items into the feed. So now I can type in my feed dot items equals my items. Okay,